Now, just in case you fools, if you are watching live and you're not watching on video on demand or on the podcast, apparently the show that's just been playing out was Keith and myself, but apparently we've got the identical same clothes on as we had on that show. I can assure you that they're clean and fresh and washed. Such a time to find this out. Chris is sitting there in the studio ready to take us live, and she's going, "You've gone live?" I'm saying, "Have we?" And she, yes. So I had to hold something up and say, "I'm holding." If you were watching on 720 and 480, you'll have seen it, but you won't have realised why. If you were watching on 360, actually, you won't have known anything about it. But we are live now, aren't we?
In the same clothes.
In the same clothes. I suppose we better blast on because we've got such a lot for you tonight. I'm going to be looking at the Lavatube V4. Bob's Basics is going to be on cartos and carto tanks and puncturing them and setting them up and making them right. And it's a good long one tonight. We're going to be looking at something that you can't buy yet, but you will be able to, assuming that it works properly, and so far it does. And then I've got a hint that I picked up from our forum at forum.vaportrails.tv, and the guy that posted this, I'm not going to say he saved my life, he hasn't, but he saved a mod for sure. And we'll be talking about all sorts of things, and that is going to be in the Haze Hour. Yes, it is the Haze Hour. Now, somebody in the chat room did say that it was a tad echoey. I'm hoping that that solved the problem. Can somebody in chat confirm and Chris come back to us? Yes? All right? I'm going to take...
confirmed. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, seems better, that's fine.
Lovely.
Thanks,
Thank you so much, chat. We had to have more mics on than I had thought, and it's all gone slightly pear-shaped.
Yes.
Firewire, digital stuff, who knew? We are really going to have to blast through tonight.
Yes.
Because there's barrel loads to look at. But I see you've brought your Lavatube.
Yes.
And have you charged the battery since last we saw you?
No.
No?
No, it's still going strong.
Excellent.
No complaints at all.
And
the juice, well, it hasn't dropped very much, has it? And I've been using that all week.
You're not sucking it enough.
Oh, I am.
Really?
Yeah. It's an impressive tank, that.
It is. It's very good. That it's a very, very good piece of kit. It is a very good piece of kit. Yes. But
and I smoke it different to you.
You do, yes. We've come to that conclusion. Keith and I are very different e-smokers, vapors, scintillators, whatever term we care to use. We are different. Keith sucks like an Electrolux.
All right.
And as has been said by many, many people in the past and probably in the present and in the future too, I just suck. I've heard it said, Dave Dawn sucks.
Yeah, you're a bit like a sort of old steam engine. Is that what you mean?
Is that right?
Yes, you know, it all billows out. Yes. Well, whatever.
Been auditioning for Glee?
Yes.
Well, I'm pleased you've been enjoying that Lavatube, but I'm going to make you jealous now.
Right.
Because this week I parted with money.
Right, yes.
Not unusual.
Mm-hmm.
It's got nothing to do with Tom Jones.
A lot of money? No.
No, well, if I play the video and you'll find out.
Right.
It's a handsome lad doing this. You'll like this.
Right.
Not a lot. but you will. You'll
Look
like
forward
it.
to it.
Good, good. Are you ready?
Ready?
Then we'll begin.
Hello, you catch me here in the VT Talk studio where I'm going to take a look at a new piece of kit that I've bought and paid money for. And I'll tell you for why. As you may recall, when I went on holiday recently, I'm sorry to harp on about it, my version 1 very first issue Lavatube served me extremely well indeed. But I'm a man that likes shiny. Hence, I've got one of these. Now this is the Lavatube version 4 as it's being advertised on the ivapor-elixir.co.uk website. Toby, frequently referred to as Toby Oop North, although he sounds nothing like that. And in many respects it looks like a version 2, version 2.1. Anyway, let's see how it all comes together. Now I bought it body only, and I'm using it with, suffice to say, the Panasonic GCR 18650CH, as you can see quite nicely there, which fits in absolutely perfectly, causes no problems. In it goes, and the base screws on. Now there might be an issue with the base, I'm not sure. Toby did tell me that there's something to talk about. But when you're using it, it works pretty much as you might expect for a Lavatube. Your plus and minus buttons, plus on the right, minus on the left. So plus takes it up, as you can see quite easily. Up it goes in 0.1 volt increments. Even better if I can get my finger out of the way. There you are, as you can see. And I'm going to take it up to 4.2, just because that's where I really want to be. And there you go. Press the button. 4.2. Okay. Or 4.3. I pressed it twice. And minus takes you down one. So that's pretty much what you would expect from something like this. The red button tells you what state the battery's in. You give it 5 presses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to do it within 2 seconds. And there you are. I've got 3.8 volts in that battery, which tells you that it's not fresh off the charger. But there's something else which is rather pleasant. If I screw on an atomizer, and in this case it's my Penelope, as you can see, if you press the big fire button 5 times, it will tell you the resistance of your atomizer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's 2.4. Now you know me, one of the first things I want to check is that that is actually right. So get ready. Let's bring the Fluke into shot, and let's first of all beep it to show you exactly what resistance that atomizer is. Here are my probes, and let's stick that up the center and then touch the outside. So it's actually reading 2.6 ohms. So in this case, if we stick it back on the Lavatube V4 in chrome, super shiny, screw it back on, and press the button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's showing 2.4. so this is misreading by a small amount. It's probably not all that significant, but it is misreading by a small amount. However, let's consider things a little further, shall we? One of the claims that's made for this version 4 is that it will put 3.5 amps out. Now I'm here to tell you that it'll only put 3.5 amps out at very, very low resistance of the atomizer. You're probably going to need somewhere between 1.1 ohms and maybe 1.4, 1.5 in order to be able to get the 3.5 amps. In all other respects, it appears to be working pretty much as you would expect of a Lavatube. That is to say, if I set this to 6 volts, which I'll do, not difficult to do, and I'll show you that on camera. So we'll set it to 6 volts. That's 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6. I should also, it's like the old ones, if you go past it'll go back to 3. So if you're on 3, you just need press minus rather than press all the numbers. So we're set at 6 volts. Okay. Now, as with all previous versions of the Lavatube, if you set it to 6 volts, you don't get any error messages. If it hasn't got the oomph to be able to give you that, it will give you whatever voltage it can. And that's probably too much. I've measured the voltage and that's giving me roughly 5.2 volts, which isn't too bad. I'll also say that I've seen on a number of places that people find the Penelope to be a little bit on the airy side. Not on here, it's not. The Lavatube version 4, if I can show you this, has an ego adapter, but it's inset inside that collar. As you can see there, it's actually inset inside a collar, so that when you plug an ego device in or screw an ego device in, it makes quite a good seal and makes for quite a tight draw, it has to be said. So when you put on your Penelope, in this case, and screw it down, you can adjust the airflow. Now, as you can, I'm going to try and do this so you can see that the Penelope, the way I've got it set up, will seal absolutely tight there. And if I go to a shot of myself, like so, that's a much tighter draw than I've experienced on other devices. It is a much tighter draw than I've experienced on other devices, which for people that like a tighter draw is brilliant. And of course you can then, should you so desire, you can slacken it off just a tad. I mean, we're talking not even a 32nd of a turn, and it'll give you just that little bit of extra airflow. So trying that, works fabulously nicely. So there we go. That's the Lavatube version 4. I'll take the Penelope off just so that we're not making any mistakes here. $39.95 I paid for that. Pros, it's shiny. It gives you a good idea of what your atomizer resistance is. It gives you a good idea of the voltage that it's working at. It gives you a good idea of how much battery life you have remaining. It has this ego style attachment at the top. Your atomizer connector is ego style, which means it will take the likes of the eye mist and basically anything else that will fit onto an ego, and it sits in there quite nicely. The switch feels very positive. Cons. Okay, cons, if you're not a fan of a tight draw, you might find that this connector gives you too tight of a draw. The only way you're going to know really is to try it. Other cons, it's not absolutely precise in its measurement of battery voltage, and if you are watching this live, recorded or any otherwise, as you can see, it is a fingerprint magnet. That said, it polishes quite easily, and when it's really shiny it looks really nice. Other cons, none so far to report. There's a little, and I don't know if it's going to be possible to show you, but there, you can just see it. The buttons do drop in and out. I'll try and show you that again. Watch. Bump, you can just see them turning out. I don't know if I can get this to work, but you can see that the buttons are not quite as solid as you might like, shall we say. And if I get it close to the mic, you can hear the rattle. You might find that off-putting. Those would be the cons. That said, this is the closest in functionality that I've seen to the fabled and wonderful Provari. This is 40 quid. A Provari is a lot nearer 200, was it 180 quid or something like that? Anywhere between 160 and 180 anyway. The fact that this works at all at 40 quid isn't bad. It's a good looking piece of kit, and you can't expect the functionality from a 40 quid piece of kit that you would get from a 160 quid piece of kit, yet it gets very close. If you are thinking about variable voltage and making a start in variable voltage, I don't think you'll go wrong with this. This is the L Rider version. It's not a clone, it's not a Chinese copy of a Chinese copy of a Chinese clone. This is the original manufacturer of the Lavatube, L Rider. Available from Toby at ivapor-elixir.co.uk, $39.95 and the usual postage and package and what have you. It's got to be well worth a look in my view. If you have the wherewithal, would I buy another one? Yes, I'm looking at buying the mini version because my darling wife, she finds that a little bit big to handle, and I quite understand that. So I'm going to try the smaller version because she's an iMist fanatic, and the smaller one might well be there. Is it massively different from the 2.1 version or the version 2? Well, yes, it allows you to see roughly what the resistance of your atomizer is, and really truthfully with these things, in my experience, all you need to do is press the plus and minus button until you've got it so that it's working well for you, and what actually is on the readout doesn't really matter that much, but it gives you some idea. So there you go, Lavatube version 4. Back to the studio.
Yes, I forgot about the echo. That's the Lavatube version 4. Do not make any comment about my wife not being used to big things in her hand.
It never crossed my mind.
It had crossed my...
So is the smaller version actually out, is it?
Yes. There is a smaller version available, which takes the 18490. So it's probably off by about there.
Right.
Smaller, neater,
right.
More comfortable in the hand for those of you that have small hands. And of course, pushing the iMist in, I mean, fill your boots. I've probably got it set far too high for you, but never mind. Oh dearie me, I think we're having a condor moment here. Isn't that nice?
It is nice. It is nice.
And shiny. But
yes,
we have to check, will it fit the shirt pocket?
I doubt it.
Well, you've got to give it a go.
I haven't got a pocket on.
Yes, you have, don't lie.
Oh, I have, yes.
It fits.
Oh, it fits, yeah.
In the summer shirt. Be alright, you just walk with a list.
That's nice, that.
It is, it's cracking, it's very nice. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time here. I'm not doing awfully well. Good, that.
Very well made.
It's good and solid in the hand, isn't it? I cannot see the knob dropping off the bottom either because it's solid. I should have pointed out, I forgot to mention in the video that the centre contact on that is spring loaded. So you'll always get a contact. I've only had it 2 or 3 days, and I've not found anything that won't fire on it yet, which is very good. I think what we'll do is we'll go to some adverts while I try and get it back off Keith. Which seems fair.
Yes, I suppose so.
I've got it back off
the other
Keith.
side.
I'll
yes.
put it on the other side. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, and when we come back, we'll probably go more or less straight into Bob's Basics. If you are a newbie to cartos and carto tanks, you're going to like this. Even if you're not, you will as well. Back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
The Haze Hour is brought to you by Janty, pioneers in electronic smoking. iVapour and iVapour Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iVapour.co.uk and iVapour-elixir.co.uk. iVapour and iVapour-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of VapourTrails.tv.
And now back to the Haze Hour, sponsored by Janty.
What happened there? It seems Skype crashed.
Skype did, we're back live. Oops, that all went strange. Yes, we've got issues with microphones tonight, which is why I need... Yes. Well, we're back live. I know where it is. I'll get it sorted out. There's going to be no more close-ups anyway, I don't think. So we'll do without close-ups, and we'll just go from where we're at. Next up is Bob's Basics. We'll hurtle straight into that, and while that's playing, I'll try and fix the microphones, eh? Yes?
Right.
We'll do that. Here is Bob's Basics. Bob, you ready? Here you go, mate.
Hi folks, I'm Bob. As you're aware by now, I'm doing a series of short videos aimed at introducing the new user, or potential new user, into the world of electronic cigarettes. Over the last few weeks, we've covered things like the lookalikes e-cig, we've covered acronyms, a few of them. We've touched briefly on atomizers and cartomizers. I know most of you out there already know these kind of things, but there's plenty out there that don't, so you'll have to bear with me on that. Over the past couple of weeks or so, I've noticed on couple of the forums where the new users are asking about tank systems, cartomizers, pre-punch cartomizers. How do you punch a cartomizer? There's various ways of punching a cartomizer, as we know. You can use a cartomizer punch. It's made with a job. You can use a hammer and a nail. You can use a screw and a hammer. Good luck with that one. You can use you can slot them with a Dremel, or you can use a file. There's loads of videos out there on YouTube where it shows you how to do these things, and VapourTrails have covered it themselves. But no one's done it recently, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Now you have to bear with me while I get this camera set up for showing you my bit, and I'll catch you in a little while. Right, so here we are with some of the kit that we use for filling a tank, basically, and punching cartos. I've got two different kind of cartomizers here. They're both low resistance. One is a single coil, as you can see, it's got LR written on it. Don't know if you can see that, probably. And then one's a dual coil, BCC. What I'll do, I'll punch this one first, and basically show you how it's all done. Very simple. It's meant basically to put a hole into the tank and into the cartomizer, so you can draw the liquid into the tank. Now the tank I'm using is a little tiny one. It holds around about 2.5 mil. Now the actual cartomizer is a little bit longer than what the tank is. As you can see, you measure it up. Is a little bit longer. Now these tubes weren't cut to the length they should have been cut to, so that was my mistake. Also on these, the end caps, you'll notice these end caps are completely round, and I'm bleeding for some reason. Oh well. There's no actual indents. Now on this cartomizer, as you can see, they're all levelled off around the edge. Whereas if you get the dual coil, get it open, if I can get it open, you see there's like a flange around the edge, and these fit into these ones, I don't know if you can see. There we go. You've got like a piece cut out of the end cap, so they will slot directly in. Get it lined up. Try to get it lined up. Here we go. This is the first problem we have. Can't get the bloody thing out. I can't get the end cap off. There we go. Right. These will go in like that. They will fit snugly into the piece it's already cut out for them. So when you screw it onto your device, it'll be nice and neat. Whereas with these ones, these are best for these kind of cartomizers. You can just slide them in and out. Take it easy because you don't want to split the O-ring in the inside of the cap. And away you go like that. So once it's all filled and punched, filled and etc., it's just a matter of filling a tank and screwing it on, and away you go. First of all, as I say, I'll be showing you how to punch one of these, fill it, because these ones have already got a pre-punched hole in them. But because I use heavy VG juices, or 100% VG juices, I'm going to have to make that hole a little bit bigger. Right, now the first thing I do, I use the old carto punch. Many people use all different things. You can use a nail and a hammer, a sharp screwdriver and a hammer, just a file, Dremel, whatever. You know, it's entirely up to you. I use one of these because I find it easy, simple. Don't mess about with it, and it's done. Now, what I've done, these are called the end caps. These are referred to as condoms, and I measured and cut 4mm off the top. That way, I'll put it over the bottom. I haven't got to mess about then measuring the distance of where to punch the hole. This here, the centre of this, and that combined come to 10 to 11mm, which is just about right. And you slide it over the top, and you turn it until it pops. And before I do that, I'm actually going to fill it first. And this is how we fill them. Get the said end cap, condom end caps. Fill it around about 3/4 full to about there with your juice. It don't matter if you have a little bit left in the bottom. You can always sort of pour that into the carto when it's filled. Now I fill them bottom end in. So push it in. Then push down slowly, and you should see the liquid coming up through the centre post. You just keep on pushing it down gently, and as you're going down, that will eventually fill up and it will soak all the way in. So I'll be back onto that one because at the moment it's going to take a few minutes to soak in, and I'll catch you in a few. As you can see, it's filled up now. Taking around about 5 minutes all in all, I suppose. We'll take it out there, give the end a bit of a wipe, and when you're filling like this, filling a cartomizer like this, I give it a little blow down the centre there. That way it gets rid of any liquid that's actually trapped inside the centre tubing. You don't want all that in your mouth, it's not very pleasant. That's clear. Now insert it into the tank. Being careful of them O-rings in now. Easy in. Slides in quite easily. And again the other end. Then push this threaded end back into the tank. Pulling it out so you're leaving yourself a gap so you can fill your tank up. There are other ways of filling tanks, but I find this way the easiest. And just fill your use your way, a syringe or spiky thing like I've got on the end of the bowl here, or just normal nozzle, whatever. Put your liquid in. I won't fill it right up. Bring it back to the top. There you go, ease it in. So you've now got that almost level onto the base, the end cap. Give it a bit of a wipe on the end. Screw it onto the device that you're going to use it on. Drip tip on the end. There we go. And that's roughly where the button is with the hole. So as you're holding it that way, you're always getting liquid going into the hole. Another thing with these as well is the top part of these, the wadding that's inside there, does go dry. Because you're only drawing the liquid into the bottom, and it goes up a certain way. So always, you know, every couple of hours or so, just give it a few drips around the edge, just to keep the top of the wadding wet. That way it doesn't dry out anything inside there, and you won't get any nasty burnt taste. And then vape in the usual way. You're probably asking why I'm using such a small tank. I usually use these kind of things in the car. About 2.5 mil in the tank, and another, or 2 mil in the tank, another mil and a bit in the Cartomizer itself. That's enough for a good few hours vaping. And then you've got to try and get it off. There we go. So that's that one. That's a single coil, no flange on the bottom, Cartomizer, low resistance. Now we come to the flanged 1.5 ohm dual coil. These have got 2 coils in them, both at 3 ohms. When you use it on your device, because you're using a dual coil, that it ends up reading out as 1.5 ohm. How that works out, I ain't got a clue. I'm not technically minded in any way, shape or form. Now before I actually fill this, you can see the hole here. These are great for PG heavy juices or all PG. They're not so great for if you're a VG user like myself. So you've got to make that hole a wee bit bigger. The easiest way that I've found for that is the carto punch. You slide it over, you find the hole, and you, where's the hole gone? Said the actress to the bishop. You screw it in until you make the hole bigger. I'll pre-punch one a little bit earlier. As you can see, it has distorted it slightly, but again, not a problem. That will now take a VG juice pretty well. Now we've got to fill the bugger. That's a different thing entirely with these. Because you've got the flange on the bottom, you can't bottom fill them. So you can either fill them by inserting them into the tank. So you put it into your tank. Put your lid on. This is where you need to use a tank filler tool, or you need something that's going to push this back out again. So you push that down, push that in like so, and that leaves you a gap there for getting your juice nozzle in and filling the tank up. Once the tank's filled, it's a simple matter of pushing your Cartomizer back up again, making sure it's lined up at the bottom, and taking said tank filler out. And then you just keep on dripping until it's full. Another way you do it, you can use one of these plastic spiky things, they're called. Stick that in the hole and fill as usual, just by like so. Doing it like that will take a little while because that's all got to soak into the wadding, and it's got to go all the way down. I suppose you could help it by giving it a few rough shakes and that, or taps, that kind of thing, and that will push the liquid into the wadding even more. What I'll actually do is fill the tank and then carry on filling the cartomizer itself. So again, I won't fill it all the way, just around about halfway, and then I'll top up it as and when I need to. This is just for demonstration purposes only. Here we go. That's all back in there. Pull out the tank filler and stick your spiky thing back in the hole and keep on filling up. As I say, again, it's going to take a good 10 minutes or so to get these to fill and soak in, but there are various different ways. Let's see if I can get this one to do a bit quicker. Probably won't, but there you go. Right, again, because you're filling from the top, you may find you get a bit of juice in that centre. So it's always give it a swift blowout, and it should clear that centre tube. That's it done. Again, stick it onto your device that you want to use. Now, because these are pre-punched, you can't gauge where the hole is. Stick your drip tip on, make sure it's tight on there, and as you can see, the hole has to be the other side, so you can use it that way around, whatever. And we'll see how it works. Again, nice and simple, easy things to use. So there you have it. You've got the dual coil cartomizer, and you've got the single coil cartomizer. One was pre-punched there, and this one was punched by myself, as you saw. They both do the same job. This one gives a slightly warmer vape for me. I don't normally get on well with these because again I use heavy VG juice. I seem to end up burning out one of the coils quickly. You may find you have your mileage may vary whatever juice you use, so I normally stick to the single coils. But either way, it works. That's a rough idea of how you can fill up your tanks and your cartomizers and punch them all in a few minutes. It doesn't take long. The more you do it, the quicker it becomes at the end of the day. So all I can say is just enjoy your vaping. Bye for now.
The Haze Hour is brought to you by Janty, pioneers in electronic smoking. And now back to the Haze Hour, sponsored by Janty.
Yes, so there you go. That's how you punch a carto tank.
Yes.
You do a lot of that, don't you?
Every day.
There you go. There is something coming on the market which you might find easier, you know.
Right.
Following Bob's exposition of how we do it yourselfers, do it ourselves.
And what's that?
Well, it's easier to show you than tell you.
Right.
So shall I?
Yes, if there's time.
I'm
yes.
quite excited by this.
Right.
If I've got the videos in the right order, I think you'll like this.
Right.
Yes. I think we're doing a lot for you tonight.
You think so?
I think so. It's
Oh.
all good though. It's all good. We'll play it in. This is, you can't get this yet. It's a bit of a tease, is this?
Right.
Right. Here we go. You ready?
Yes.
Sitting comfortably?
Yes.
Then I shall begin.
Hello again, it's me again. I'm on a kick. I'm recording video left, right and centre today. And this one, it's about something you can't buy yet, but it's what's coming up. So let's have a look, shall we? Right, this is a CE3 carto tank. Now, the tank itself is, as you can see, it's still got a little bit of juice in it because I've taken it to bits so you can see the various different parts. I'm not going to go too far into this. It is, in fact, it's a tank, much like many other tanks that you will have seen, that you will have used. The capacity is the same as many other tanks you've seen and will have used, so no issue there. The interesting part, however, is this. And this is the CE3 insert. And I'm going to try and show you why this is different from anything you've seen so far. Let's look down the end. And it's not massively lit, I have to say, and I don't know, I'm going to try and zoom in on this when we edit. But as you can see, no filler whatever. Not a scrap of filler in there. You can almost see the shiny bit, that is the coil that's down in the bottom. And if we look very closely, and I'm going to get as close as I can here, you will see a little blocked off window at the bottom, and you will just see inside there that there is a chamber into which wick shows, and it's the same on the other side as well. This is CE3 technology. It's right at the very bottom. It's a bottom coil fillerless cartomizer. It's very difficult to hold it steady, but you can just see the wicks poking out, and you can just see the little gap there in the window that lets the juice through. Now, it goes together much as you might imagine a carto tank would, like any other one. And as you can see, it's flanged. We like flange. Flange is good. And you'll see that there's a flange at a flange recess at the bottom of the tank, so it just slides together much as you would expect, comme ça, which is French for like so. Not really anything that you wouldn't expect. And then of course it'll take whichever drip tip you care to put on it at the top end. It's a standard 510 kind of size. Now this is a prototype. It's not meant to be anything other than that. So what I'll do is I'll stick a little bit of juice in it, we'll get it filled and see how it goes from there, shall we? Okay, fillage. As you might expect, the idea is to push that down, leave yourself a gap like so, then using a snipe nose bottle or syringe or what have you, you simply fill it up down the side as you might expect at the slant, and when you've got enough in, as now, you push back up. Now if you do make a mistake and you get it down the centre, which I have, you will find that it drips out all over the place, and that's because I'm a klutz. If you use a little tank filler, then you'll be absolutely fine. The thing about this, of course, is it's going to prime it's going to prime. You can see it all dripping through there, so that's going to prime that really rather nicely. I think I probably am going to get a cloth, wipe it up, and we'll just let that fester while I get a device and a mouthpiece. Right, cleaned me drips up, cleaned me mess up, mouthpiece, drip tip, call it what you will, into place, no problem at all. And well, let's put it onto the new Lavatube V4. Actually, let's give it a little wipe before we do that, because it is absolutely caked in juice. My own fault. I'd thought about editing this, but no. So, onto the Lavatube we go. And bearing in mind that the Lavatube is not going to be 100% accurate, we don't think. It's showing me 2.3 ohms, which is going to be close enough for jazz. And what I'm going to do is what I always do. I'm going to set it to the 6 volts. Now, Toby, when he sent this up, the prototype up, he said it's meant to be used at less than 4 volts. So I think actually what I might do is ring it down to 3.7 volts, which is where we're at now. 3.7 volts, and let's give it a try at that. You'll be able to see, before I do give it a talk, that those little windows you can make out there are right at the very bottom, right on the periphery of that metal at the bottom end there, and it looks fabulous, I have to say. Sits really nice on this Lavatube. Okay, right, so let's give it a blast and see how it functions. I think it's overprimed. And in fact would take a higher voltage. So let's crank it up to 4.2, bearing in mind that it's not going to be exactly precise on this Lavatube, but never mind, it's close enough. Just fiddle with it until you find the point where you like it. And there we go, it's coming on stream. I have to say the flavour is gorgeous. It's good and strong. There's plenty there. Ties together well into a vapour ring. It's always good. Always good. I can't knock this. As a prototype, I do like the idea. One of the things I've found with the CE Cartomizers, whether it's a CE2 or mostly the CE2s particularly, is that the coil is quite high up. I'm not that keen personally on a top coil Cartomizer. I'll tell you for why. It's because it ends up being too hot for me. I've got a very delicate mouth. I know. Maybe it's not when I'm speaking, but I don't like things too hot, and I blister quite easily straight behind the teeth. The vapour from this is at just the right temperature for me. I've tried various different tanks over the years, and I've got to say that with the top coil ones, to a man they've been too hot for me. This is functioning quite nicely. And it's having few problems wicking this glycerin heavy juice that I use. Looking at it, it works quite nicely. As I say, this is a prototype and I know they're doing some tweaks. I have had a few dry hits when the tank's been running low, as you would expect. But the beauty about the bottom coil and the bottom hole, you're not worrying about constantly tipping as you would be with various other ones to get it to wick. I'll be interested to see how this develops. It's got the makings of being something that's very nice. and I'm really looking forward to seeing the production version of this. So that's kind of a little bit of news. It's coming. You can't get it yet, but when you can, you'll be able to get it from Toby at ivapor-elixir.co.uk, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all pans out. I think I'd probably better throw back to the studio because Keith might be asleep by now.
And he's not.
I'm trying it. Absolutely bursting with flavour.
It is, isn't it?
That's the only way I can. Yeah.
It's so full of flavour. Almost unbelievably so. Almost unbelievably so. It's a beautiful piece.
Amazing.
I'm itching to see it coming out. And looking at the video in close-up, you can see that there's scope for that window to be widened slightly to let a thicker juice through.
Yes.
So that'll be the tweaks
Yes.
that they're doing. I think it's got potential for being really nice. And
Yeah.
you don't have to mess about with carto punches.
Exactly.
Exactly. And yes, I am a klutz. I didn't have one of those little carto filler, tank filler things to hand.
That's really full of flavour.
Nice.
Yes.
You're liking that. Good. We are fast running out of time, so I'm going to have to shift on to the last...
And move it to your
Yes,
side,
I will.
yes,
Don't
yeah.
you worry. We'll have to move on to the last little bit because I can't remember how long it runs.
Right.
It's not very long, but this was a hint and kink that came from the forum. And when I first saw it, I kind of, you know how you do, you just read past these things because it didn't apply.
Yes.
And then, of course, when we were away, I broke the biggie.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'll let the video tell it, otherwise I'll just be saying what I said when I recorded it. I had a blast. You know how the muse comes on you?
Yes.
The muse came on me,
Right.
which is or isn't a good thing depending on your viewpoint.
Put it on then.
Okay.
Me again. Can't stay out of the studio today. This is just a very quick one to say a big thank you to one of our forumites. If you go to forum.vaportrails.tv, you will see that we get all kinds of hints and kinks on there. I'm not going to tell you exactly where this one is because I want you to go and have a look for yourself. But as you may recall, I managed to break the 2 mods that I made to take away with us on holiday. Well, I say break. Didn't actually break. I basically didn't make them all that well. My soldering was not up to par. And although Gary tells me and Mark tells me that you can't actually melt the silicon ring that goes around the centre post on a 510 connector, I think I did. I broke it somehow anyway, and ended up shorting it out. But there was a tip, a hint, a kink posted on the Vapor Trails forum that said that it was fixable by sliding an O-ring over the centre post. And I thought, I'm going to give that a go. And I did. I'm not going to take the O-ring off because it'll be practically impossible. But as you can see, if you look closely, and if I've got this in focus, which I think I have, the O-ring now sits behind the button of the centre post, and it will slide very neatly back into the connector. And I just need something to push it down with. So push it in, and it seats quite firmly. Now, as you can see, there is room for manoeuvre. It'll push up and down, but it pushes up and down straight. Let's stick the Penelope back in. And let's bring out the good old fluke and do some beeping, as you do, and look for continuity tests. What we want to see is there any continuity between the centre post and the outside. And if I connect it all up, put the bits and bobs where you'll hear the beep, and that's showing 2.6 ohms on the meter, which is exactly what it should be. And if I take the Penelope off, this is where any short would occur. It's where you would know if there was a short. So here we have it. The meter, as you can see, is touching the outside, and as I press onto the inside contact, I can push that as much as I like, and no short, no beep. Touch it on the outside, there's the beep. Touch it onto the inside, as you can see the white wire moving behind. Yeah, no beep. Screw that down as tight as I like, no beep, no short, exactly as it should be. That is a brilliant tip, brilliant tip. Thank you so much. But I think when I remake the other one, because the other one's completely shut, I'm going to put a new connector in, and I'm going to use this idea of the O-ring straight underneath the button to make it work exactly as it should. So that was just a thank you to the poster of that hint and kink on our forum. Thank you so much. I've actually got this mod back and working again, and I'm so pleased by that. Back to the studio.
And back we are, and here it is. And proof of the pudding is in the sucking, so they say.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's lush. It works perfectly. You can screw it down as tight as you like, and there's just no issue at all, whatever. None. Now that switch is latched on, I think. Give it another suck. There you go. Lusho looks is what it is. Absolutely lusho looks. Like that?
I do, yeah.
Goodly good. Wonderful stuff. So yes, that's been the Haze Hour this week. There's been all kinds we haven't had time to talk about, including Vape Fest Ireland, which I'm going to, but we'll talk more about that on Sunday, I'm sure. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for Kat for doing all the production work. Thanks to Keith. From us, bye-bye. See you next time.
Night.
Take care. Bye.
The Haze Hour was sponsored by Janty, pioneers in electronic cigarettes.